2018 marked the third season for the Michelin Le Mans Cup. A Pro-Am championship, it features GT3 and LMP3 machinery and comprised 6 events across Europe. Among them, the prestigious Road to Le Mans, the curtain raiser to the 24 hours. And it all kicked off at Le Castellet in April in the south of France with an entry of 29 cars.
We have started the race.
The first pole sitter of the year, Eric Trier, in the red, white and blue French-entered Graf car. He was chased by Tony Wells and Leonard Hogenboom for Kuriakos and DKR Engineering. Trouble started early.
We have a spinner at P4, driver's right.
By the end of the first lap, we had our third race leader, Leonard Hogenboom, the young Dutchman slipping inside Tony Wells, who lost further ground with a mistake at senior, dropping to 6th. The same problem befell GT3 leader Pier Giuseppe Perezzini in his Ferrari. Pole sitter Sergio Pianazzola in the number 8 Kessel Racing Ferrari took up the lead in GT3. Into the pit lane, Leonard Hogenboom at the end of an impressive opening stint to the season, but he overshot his team and that would cost them valuable time in the pits. As Jens Pedersen was on his outlap, in came the new leader Nicolas Schatz for DB Autosport, and there were no mistakes as he handed over to fellow Frenchman Jacques Wolf, who reappeared in the lead. But the lead did not stay with DB for long. DKR Engineering back in front as Jens Pedersen pounced on the Frenchman. DB's woes continued. Jacques Wolf off track after contact with Colin Noble in the Kuriakos Nielsen number 79 machine. GT3 leader Giacomo Puccini for Kessel Racing cruising out front after taking over from Sergio Pianazzola, his teammate. DB Autosport's Jacques Wolf was pushed further down the order as James Littlejohn grabbed 3rd for a Kuriakos Nielsen. And there was drama on the very last lap. Race leader Jens Pedersen in the tyre wall at turn 1.
We have a contact at T exit of T1. The car lost it and hit the tire barrier. The car is rejoined.
Incredibly, damage was minimal. Jens Pedersen able to cruise around the final lap, not having even lost his lead. And he would claim victory in the season opener at Le Castellet. The DKR engineering team undoubtedly breathing a huge sigh of relief. No such dramas in GT3. Giacomo Puccini sealing a fine win for Kessel Racing. Victory and the championship lead for the Norma of DKR Engineering ahead of the Ligiers of the Kuriakos Nielsen, and it was a Ferrari clean sweep in GT3. Kessel 77 and Spirit of Race followed Sergio Pianazzola and Giacomo Puccini.
I did basically everything. I didn't do nothing. I just cruised for my stint, and no, really, the car was amazing. The team did a great job. Sergio was unbelievable.
Today, I think 85 of the credit goes to 2 guys, Team DKR, and this young man, Leonard Hogenboom, who did an excellent job. A name to remember, I think.
The Autodromo Nazionale di Monza in May, the venue for round 2.
We have started the Michelin Le Mans Cup race.
Lannon Racing's pole sitter Michael Benham held off fast-starting Tony Wells, who'd been on the front row of the grid for a Kuriakos Nielsen team, as Jens Pedersen slotted into 4th for DKR. Pedersen was soon on the move, passing Eric Debar of CD Sport into the Parabolica for 3rd, and then chasing down and getting by Tony Wells in the number 2 Kuriakos Nielsen machine. Behind, Nicolas Schatz for DB Autosport was also on the charge. he worked his way up to third past Tony Wells. But the other Kyriakos Nielsen car of Alastair McCaig was in trouble after contact from Graf Racing's Sergio Pazian.
We are under safety car, leader slow down.
Having gained on the leader behind the safety car, Jens Pedersen then gave it all away, lunging too deep past Michael Benham in the Lannon Racing car and dropping back down. But the pressure was on. Nicola Schatz of DB Autosport moved up to second ahead of Pedersen in the nose-to-tail battle. Then he gained his 7th place from the start, taking the lead from Michael Benham. As Schatz pulled away, Jens Pedersen made a slightly cleaner attempt on Michael Benham, through for second. As at Le Castellet, so in Monza, from second on the grid, Sergio Pianezzola romped away at the head of the GT3 field in the number 8 Kessel Racing Ferrari. A major mistake for DB Autosport. They left Nicola Schatz out too long in the lead, and he rolled out of fuel, out of the lead and out of the race. And that handed a solid advantage to Leonard Hogenboom as he took over from Jens Pedersen. Lannon Racing would post a second DNF. Duncan Tappy clattered off by Andy Cummings in the SPV Racing Ligier as they battled for third. It was another easy ride for Giacomo Puccini, the number 8 Kessel Racing Ferrari clearing away in GT3. No last lap dramas for DKR this time. Leonard Hogenboom taking the checkered flag. Win number 2 for the team.
Let's make a gap a little bigger, and we are really happy with it.
Top 3 in the race, the same top 3 in the championship. Tony Wells and James Littlejohn in second, John Ferrano and Job van Uitert in third, as Leonard Hogenboom and Jens Pedersen had a strong series advantage. And in Italy, what else other than the Kessel Racing Ferrari could win in GT3?
Great teammate, especially a big friend, and as usual, you always do the most of the part.
Behind the Ferraris, Paolo Venerosi and Alessandro Baccani for Ebby Motors put a Porsche on the podium for the first time in the season. Road to Le Mans, the mega event of the season in June, and with the addition of teams from the European and Asian Le Mans series, the Michelin Le Mans Cup drivers would have to work extra hard for their points. As race 1 got underway, there were 50 cars on the grid, headed by poleman Mikkel Jensen for Euro International and Cool Racing's Scott Andrews. AF Corsa's Pier Giuseppe Perezzini was the GT3 pole sitter and led early on. But after an impressive recovery from 7th in qualifying, Sergio Pianezzola got by him in the number 8 Kessel Racing Ferrari and, as had been their form all season, immediately began to pull away. Disaster was somehow averted for Euro International race leader Mikkel Jensen missing the crew, but Kevin Burlow took over and they somehow resumed the race in the lead. Drama though for the GT3 leader. Giacomo Puccini handed a 30-second stop and go for speeding in a slow zone. The 71 AF Corsa Ferrari and Marco Ciocci retaking the lead 46 seconds up the road. Second in LMP3, the hard-charging Sean Rahal, the 33 United Autosport car, closing in the final laps, but not close enough. Kevin Burlow and Mikkel Jensen claiming victory in race 1. Marco Ciocci and Pier Giuseppe Perezzini victorious in GT3. DKR, the Michelin Le Mans Cup leaders, took 3rd place in LMP3. Second went to reigning European Le Mans Series LMP3 champions United Autosports, with Euro International, who won the ELMS race in Monza, topping the first podium at Road to Le Mans.
Yeah, my first time at Le Mans and winning is unbelievable feeling. To drive just safe and do consistent lap times, and that's how we finished. So really happy.
The GT3 podium featured 3 Ferraris and 6 Italian drivers. On the top step for AF Corsa, Pier Giuseppe Perezzini and Marco Ciocci.
It's very important to win this race. First of all, because we are in Le Mans. Second, because for championship we need some win.
The start to race 2 was chaotic in LMP3. Eric Trier, the pole sitter, didn't get away well. And as they fanned out 2 and 3 wide behind, up to the Dunlop chicane, it was never going to end prettily. CD Sports' Lawrence Heur came through in front as the mayhem broke out behind. 20-year-old Lawrence Heur led from Michael Benham and Maxime Robin, and at the second chicane on the Mulsanne Straight, it all turned sour in GT3. Sergio Pinizzola pulling out from the slipstream of Marco Ciocci and hitting the AF Corsa car. They were both out of the race. Safety car was scrambled. At the restart, Ultimate Motorsport's Jean-Baptiste Lahaye grabbed second from Lannon Racing's Michael Benham. Then handed over the Norma to his teammate Francois Heriot. Benham was in as well to hand over to teammate Duncan Tappy. With a slow zone on track, the pit lane was jammed. Notable absentee, the 30 CD Sport Car. The team called in Lawrence Heur too late. They'd missed the slow zone window of opportunity, and that would cost them any chance of victory. The new leader was Adrien Schiele for Graf, and behind, Sean Rahal and Duncan Tappy were arguing over second place. Having disposed of Tappy, the American caught and passed Adrien Schiele on the straight as he took the lead for United Autosports. Just a few hundred metres later, up into second went Duncan Tappy, Schiele now down to third. In the final moments, Tappy got his head down and charged after Rahal, sweeping by the Ligier to take the lead in the Lannon Racing Norma. And that's where he stayed, Duncan Tappy claiming victory in race 2 as he took the checkered flag for himself and Michael Benham.
25's won at Le Mans.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. I don't think I'll get bored of saying it, I'll be honest. I don't think I'll get bored of saying it.
You have every right to. Go and celebrate with your team. Well done.
Thank you very much.
A first finish and a first win for Michael Benham and Duncan Tappy. United Autosports' John Falp and Sean Rahal took second, ahead of Jacques Wolf and Nicolas Schatz on the podium for the first time, with DKR in fourth, retaining the points lead. The GT3 went to the 51 Spirit Race Ferrari of Maurizio Mediani and Christoph Ulrich.
The best thing in the world, simple as that. It's my absolute favorite track. I came here a couple of years ago, the first time as a spectator. When I started this year, it was always about Le Mans.
A remarkable first win for the 51 Spirit Race car ahead of the 77 Kessel Ferrari, Claudio Schiavone and Andrea Piccini, with Kessel Racing's 50 car John Hartshorn and Ollie Hancock in third. Despite retiring, the number 8 Kessel Ferrari holds on to the championship lead. The second half of the season started with rain in Austria in July.
Gentlemen, we have started the race behind the safety car. Please ensure your cars have all the lights on.
The track was absolutely awashed, but should dry fast as no further rain was expected. And after 4 reconnaissance laps behind the safety car, the field was released. CD Sports' Fabien Laverne leading from pole from Jens Pedersen, the points leader in the DKR number 3, and Adrien Schiele third for Graf. Schiele ignoring the 40 Graf car's lack of good fortune this season, passing Jens Pedersen for second. The championship leader taking no risks at all. When Alistair McCaig came calling for third, he allowed the Acura Cos-Nielsen car through. GT3 Championship newcomers Marco Zanutini and Krypton Motorsports Mercedes led by 8 seconds from Pier Giuseppe Perezzini and AF Corsa. And in the all-Ferrari battle for third, points leader Sergio Pianazzola bumped his way past Le Mans winner Christoph Ulrich. Among the early pit stoppers, Jens Pedersen handing over the championship-leading DKR engineering machine to Leonard Hogenboom.
Full course yellow, full course yellow.
Recovering Richard Mines from the gravel triggered a slew of pit stops. In were 51 Spirit Race and the number 8 Kessel Racing Ferrari from GT3.
3, 2, 1. Track is back to green. Track is back to green.
Another mistimed pit stop for CD Sport, plus a 30-second longer pit stop than any of their rivals, would cost them. Marco Zanuti handed over the Krypton Motorsport Mercedes too late as well. As the track went green, they dropped down the order to third. Behind the all-Ferrari lead battle, Giacomo Puccini in the 8 Kessel Racing car, ahead of Marco Ciocci for AF Corsa. At this stage, Monegasque Alain Costa led in LMP3 for N-Race, but he was under pressure from Colin Noble. Contact at the hairpin saw the Acuria Cost 79 car go through for the lead. Leonard Hogenboom then grabbing second place from Marc-Antoine Danielou in the number 40 Graf Racing entry. The young Dutchman continued his charge to the very last lap, and there was more drama for DKR. Squeezing on the grass into a gap that didn't exist and bumping Colin Noble's Acuria Cost Nielsen car out of the lead and into the gravel trap. It was win number 3 for DKR Engineering, Leonard Hogenboom and Jens Pedersen, and right behind them, a third GT3 win too for Kessel Racing, Giacomo Puccini and Sergio Pianezzola.
Our decision was to go for a fully dry setup because we thought it would dry after the driver change. I decided not to take too many risks because we were thinking about the championship. Yeah, and then he had a perfect car, I think, and he pushed a lot.
A huge championship lead for the DKR Engineering duo over the disgruntled Acuria Cost Nielsen pair Colin Noble and Alistair McCaig. And a first podium for Graf Racing's number 40 car Adrian Schiller and Marc-Antoine Danielou. Kessel Racing again proved their speed and their consistency with win number 3.
It was amazing. The guys did an amazing job. It was a very tough race. Sergio today did a fantastic stint. Then the first again, and that's great.
The Kessel Racing duo further stretching their advantage over the 51 Spirit Race Ferrari pair, who finished third at the Red Bull Ring. In second place, the AF Corsa 71 team, now up to third place in the championship rankings. The awesome Spa-Francorchamps for round 5, a race that could see both titles decided. Wipers on, light drizzle at the start, and the predictable results as Michael Benham led the charge to turn 1. As he and fellow front row starter Tony Wells outbraked each other, Adrien Trier spun in front of the field from third, but Benham kept his nerve and his foot in, taking the lead into Eau Rouge and immediately losing the car on the exit. Jacques Wolf took up the running for DB Autosport ahead of Acuria Cost Nielsen's Alistair McCaig and Anthony Pons of CD Sport. Championship leader Jens Pedersen for DKR Engineering climbed the hill in 7th place, but trouble was in store as they headed down the valley, spinning away several places, and a stop for new tyres would cost him several more. As rain began to fall, Sergio Pianezzola claimed the lead of GT3 from teammate Claudio Schiavoni. Cool Racing's Antonin Borger was now out front in LMP3 as Alex Capadia for RLR M Sport held off Alistair McCaig in the Acuria Cost Nielsen 79 car. A change onto wet weather tyres for the race leader as heavy rain swept through the Belgian Ardennes. Though rookie Sergio Pianezzola might not have noticed, he was leading comfortably in the vile conditions in the Kessel Racing Ferrari. Eager for a top result to hold off DKR Engineering in the championship battle, Alistair McCaig swooped by Richard Mines for 4th. In the minimal visibility, race leader Antonin Borger almost came to grief in the Cool Racing 24 car. As Jens Pedersen brought the championship leading car in to hand over to young teammate Leonard Hogenboom, they knew that a half-decent result would guarantee the team's and driver's title. This was not the time for heroics. A cool, calm head was what was required. So too for the race leaders, Antonin Borger handing over to Alexandre Coigny. The Cool Racing entry would head back out into once more changing conditions. Also in the pits, the GT3 leaders, Sergio Pianezzola as ever starting for Kessel Racing's number 8 and Giacomo Puccini doing the anchor leg. All DKR needed was a decent result. Leonard Hogenboom going by Eric Trier for 5th position. The Dutchman apparently still with only one speed, flat out. For Kyriakos Nielsen, only victory would do. Colin Noble determined to try and get the car onto the top step of the podium, sliding by Ross Warburton for 2nd. But as he made up places, so too did Leonard Hogenboom, going by Warburton for 4th position as the rain returned once more. And the weather would catch out the race leader, Alexandre Coigny, in the barriers inside the final 10 minutes. Kyriakos Nielsen needed a win, and they got it. The checkered flag waved as Colin Noble brought the 79 car across the line. The first win of the year for he and Alistair McCaig, but it was all too little, too late. Behind an Kyriakos Nielsen 1-2, in 3rd place Leonard Hogenboom and Jens Pedersen. They claimed the Drivers' Championship, and DKR Engineering took the team's title. It's our 2nd year in LMP3 and our 2nd title. We've never had a mechanical failure. We've finished all our races. I think that's one of our keys to success. Plus, we have 2 great drivers. Our GT3 race winners and champions are Giacomo Puccini, Sergio Pianezzola and Kessel Racing, their 4th win of the season. The team earned themselves a spot in LMGTE for the 24 Hours of Le Mans 2019.
Giacomo and myself, we try to do all our best anytime, so I think at the moment the score is very positive. We closed the championship 1 race before, so we are extremely happy.
With LMP3 and GT3 titles awarded in Belgium, the season finale in Portimao was all about who else would finish on the championship podium. It dawned bright and sunny, but cold, and the track was damp after overnight rain. Jens Pedersen taking the lead around the outside of pole sitter Tony Wells in the first turn. And trouble broke out right behind. Paul Scheuchner hit by Ajin Keeler after a spin. Antonin Borger then putting the move in on Tony Wells to move up to 2nd place. And he immediately set off, trying to chase down race leader Jens Pedersen.
We are under safety car. Please slow down.
After clear up at turn 1, the safety car was withdrawn and battle recommenced. Antonin Borger fighting his way past Jens Pedersen. Cool Racing determined to try and make up for the disappointment of Spa. Job van Uytert diving by Jens Pedersen at the hairpin, contact with the DKR car. Antonin Borger miscuing in traffic, running wide, handing the lead to Job van Uytert and RLR M Sport. But for DKR, that contact would eventually mean retirement. Fortunately, they already had both titles neatly sewn up. After the pit stops, race leader Ross Warburton for RLR M Sport found himself unable to resist the charging Jack Wolf in the DB Autosport number 21 machine. But in his turn, the Frenchman was to fall victim to both Kyriakos Nielsen cars. Colin Noble in 79 and James Littlejohn in number 2, both finding their way by. Kyriakos Nielsen weren't to have it all their own way. As Colin Noble charged off, James Littlejohn found himself under attack on the final lap. Colin Braun squeezing by in the 32 United Autosports car to grab 2nd place.
Great job, buddy. Well done. Brilliant job.
A 2nd straight win for Colin Noble and Alistair McCaig, and Portimao saw Kyriakos Nielsen round out the LMP3 Championship top 3 behind DKR Engineering, the title winners. Giacomo Puccini, Sergio Pianezzola and Kessel Racing claimed their 5th GT3 win. Only Le Mans eluded them. In 3rd place on the podium, Claudio Schiavone and Andrea Puccini finished the championship just behind Spirit of Race, 1 point ahead of runners-up in Portimao, Pier Giuseppe Perezzini and Marco Ciocci, who finished in 4th. The Michelin Le Mans Cup will return for 2019 with the Circuit de Catalunya in July, the newcomer to the calendar.